Okay, today is February 24th, 2023, and here is the second update to my pepper series. And I have been extremely busy, and look at my plants. I haven't been able to make time to divide it, and so look at this. It's growing like crazy all over the place. There's like maybe 20 plants in here, maybe even more. But those are the Khang white tie. And it's not a good idea to do this. You always want to split them as soon as they sprouted. That way it gives them a good chance to grow in their own container, and they will grow better without having to compete with all these right here. So this is not a good idea. But it is not so bad. I will show you how to split these. I've done it last year. If you haven't seen the video, you should go check it out. But we'll do it again this year. I'll split these into individual containers, and then I'll give the rest away because I'm probably only gonna need maybe 10 plants or so, and the rest will be given away to some friends that live close by. And then for these here that I split into hydroponic system, man, those things are like they take off much faster than the one in soil, because I guess because they have their own space, but also there's always nutrients available. And then grow hydroponic, they just grow much better. It's like they're on steroids. So some of the plants right here, you see they're already flowering. I'm gonna cut that off because I don't want them to flower yet. And also because the container is so small, I'm trying to keep the plant small. So I'm gonna have to do some pruning. So we'll do that in a bit. And then I have some herbs. This is how I grow herb every year. I just take basil cuttings that are left over from the ones that I bought. And then I just propagated them, and I just leave them in water until it's warm enough. And I'll take them outside. And yes, you can leave this thing in water for months and it should be okay. Like sometimes I have left them in there for like 3 to 4 months, and then they'll just grow roots right there. They won't grow too much because not much nutrients in the just plain water. And then you see my lemongrass is back there. So basically I just use leftover bottom pieces of lemongrass, and then I put them in water and see they sprouted, and then later I will grow them in the garden. And then for these here, we have more. So I'm gonna list the varieties that I'm growing in the description, because people were asking what varieties I'm growing this year. And one of the varieties that I'm very happy to grow this year is the Tangerine Tiger. And that variety was sent to me from Paula. Paula has an excellent channel, guys. You should check her out. She grows all kinds of awesome stuff, and she does bees, figs, peppers, all kinds of stuff. So yeah, she sent me those, and I'm very excited. That's a beautiful variety back there, right? So yeah, and then I have some new hydroponic setup, and yeah, so far everything is looking good. Let me show you another one, and here is the mini one. This is the one that I took out of one of the, I divided it, and so there it is right there. And so that one's gonna take off really quick because it's in hydroponic system all by itself, so it has a lot of space to grow. And then I'm starting new seeds over here, guys. I'm also growing blue bonnet. So man, I had no idea how difficult it is to grow blue bonnets. And so I bought like hundreds of seeds, and I've tried so many different ways and none of them worked. And so far I saw one that sprouted because I dug it up and there was roots and everything. So out of like 100 seeds, I got one to sprout. So I'm very happy about that. And because of that, I'm gonna try the next batch the exact same way. And if that worked, I'm gonna show you guys. I have no idea what to do when it comes to blue bonnet. So anyway, if you guys have suggestion, that's always appreciated. But yeah, that's just a simple setup. And yeah, I think someone asked why did I grow them in cups like this with the the top on and everything. I just if you watched some of the videos I've done in the previous years, I grew peppers in whiskey bottles. And this is basically the same concept, and I'm just growing it this way. Also, you know, when you have a lid on top like this, the moisture seems to remain inside, and so watering is very minimal, so you don't do it as much. And then the feeding tube right here, because what happened is if you don't put a feeding tube and the container is this small, once the plants grow really big, there's a lot of roots, and the more roots there are, the more it starts to push against the bottle, and it becomes really tight. And so when you water, you know, there's no pockets for the water to go down to the bottom, and usually you know, you just have to wait until it soaks in, and it takes a while. If you water too much, it'll just fall right out. And so the feeding tube helps the you know, me to put nutrients right to the bottom of the roots right here. That helps the roots travel down, but also it's easier for feeding. I don't have to open the lid and anything like that, so I just feed it through the tube. So that's the idea. But anyway, that is just a quick update. Everything is looking good. Right now the temperature is pretty inconsistent. We had 80 degrees the other day Fahrenheit, and then today we have 41 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's not a good time to put it outside yet. So I'm gonna do it the usual time. Around mid to late March is when you're gonna get to see these guys outside, and then we're going to separate all of those one by one, and I'll show you once that happens. All right, guys, today is March 4th, 2023. The weather is beautiful, and I think spring is here, and it will not get cold anymore. So it's time to do some transplanting. So I bought these. I buy a few plants every year because I like these orange habanero, and I can start the seeds too, but I just rather buy it already started and then grow them. And here's a trick: when you go and buy plants, don't always look for the biggest plants, but look for the ones that has multiple plants. That way you can get 2 or maybe even 3 plants for the price of 1. And so that's what I usually do. I don't always pick the biggest plants. I pick the pot that has multiple plants, and there's always some that are like that. So these are orange habanero, and we're gonna split them today and plant them into a raised bed. So it's exactly the same way as the ones that I'm growing in the cups, where I have a whole bunch of them. I need to separate those very soon, but I'm gonna wait a little bit more because the raised bed for those is not ready yet. So I'm gonna show you how I separate them. I show this every season, but I'm gonna do it again. And the method for, you know, dividing those in the cup or these is the exact same way. So let's go ahead and divide this up, and then we're gonna put this in the raised bed. Okay, so to get multiple plants out of the same pot, if you yank them out, you could potentially damage the roots. And so if you have a whole bunch of them like mine, this is the best way to do it. If you have just one here and one here and you just break them in half, that's actually the best way, because less root disturbance is always the best. When you disturb the root, it does take a while for them to recover, and so this method is not always recommended, but I'm doing this because I have been pretty lazy and all my plants are grown in that one cup and they're just all tangled together, so I have no choice but to do that. But the best way is to just separate them as soon as they sprout into their own container. That way you don't have to mess with the root system. Okay, so here, this is what we're gonna do. Just you see, when you use the water, it combs it out like a comb. Look at this. And here is your plant. So no roots are damaged, but as I mentioned, it's better not to disturb the roots like this, because when you do this, it does you know, kind of set them back a little bit because they have to get adjusted once again. Okay, so now we have 2 plants and we can transplant them into our raised bed. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, so when you transplant your plants, I usually pluck these bottom leaves off right here, because anything that could potentially be touching the soil, I just remove them. And habanero are very large plants. I'll show you a video from last year and you can see how big they get. So when you plant these, if you can, try to give them about 3 feet apart. That way they can have plenty of room to grow because they get so big. Okay, so let's go ahead and put them into the soil. You want a deep hole, enough for the roots to go down. I just dug up my soil and I see a bunch of worms down there. So the soil is very nice and alive and healthy, which is very good. Okay, so that's one of my plants. And I will continue transplanting the rest and then provide you guys with the update in the next video. So that's it for now. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.